Got lost in that feeling of you, of the endless repeating of that night 3 years ago. You might not remember it, but I still do. Your eyes glistened like daggers facing me. You looked at me with that strange mix of confusion, interest, and maybe just a hint of something else. Though at the time, I couldn't tell. I was a detective. You were a client. What should have just been another client passing the day. Another person filled with something more. Or the thought, inkling that there's more to life. Or at least a mystery that you wanted solved. By the time we sat down, there you were. It played out a little something like this. How do you do? So, you want to know who ruined your life? I can see it in your eyes. Call it a trick of the trade or just me being a little better than most. You're someone with those eyes. Someone lost to that desire to know more. So, regardless of what you've heard of me, you've clearly got good connections to have landed here. It wasn't by chance that I caught you in the rain. Now right now you're here, sitting in my chair, drinking my tea. Do me a favor and keep those glares meaningful. You'll need that someday. Well, let's talk about you for a moment. You said you've been living there for how many years? All right, and they took everything from you. Please, you don't need to go into those kinds of details. I've got you. By what you've told me already, I can get a clean grasp of what you're asking for, what you're needing. But the one thing I can't quite understand is why you have those eyes. Well, you see, a lot of clients have a lot of different eyes, but yours aren't filled with revenge, no. You're filled with a sort of kindness, even still. Why is that? Call it my detective's question, and you don't have to answer anything you don't want. If I had to quantify it, I'd say you're looking like something different today. Not that I've met you before, but it doesn't seem like it's your normal. The way that you're fidgeting, you're clearly nervous, but you wanted to end up here, didn't you? Even if you didn't want to go through what led to this mystery. I'm sorry for your struggles, and I sympathize with them. But there is a real portion of this that I need to know. What do you want out of all of this? It was the strangest expression. One like as moon setting and sun rising, if you did it all in a monochromatic blaze of glory, like a dawn of a new day, with all the gumption, energy, and fulfillment of a wallowing animal moments before it's swallowed by predators. I couldn't tell in that moment. I couldn't even understand it. But I continued. I realized something. Perhaps the most important thing in that moment. I realized this wasn't just a mystery. This was a matter of life. How they wanted to live it. The difference was my client was different. Not because of the resentment, but because of the lack thereof. Couldn't wrap my head around it. But things continued. So what you're telling me is, at least what it sounds like, pardon my intrusiveness, it seems like you're not looking for a detective at all. Well, you're looking at something more than that. Why is it? I know that those people, they must have hurt you pretty good for you to end up here. But why? You can't bring yourself to hate them, can you? This almost makes things more difficult. You're a real piece of work, kid, you know that? It's different. The main difference, I say, pardon my informality, I've seen a lot of people come and go. I've seen a lot of them with faces filled, twisted with anger. I've seen people look like they're losing their mind, like the slightest hint of any clue could latch onto that resentment and drive them wild. I've seen people get what they were looking for, but not look any happier for it. This is different. It might seem vague, it might seem intrusive, or not my place to be talking about. In which case I would say you've got a point there. The major difference is, I wouldn't be saying this if I didn't care. I'm not just a private detective because willy-nilly reasons or it pays the bills. Take a look around you. I'm not living in a lavish castle with a sunset skyline. Babe, I think you misunderstood that. Again, pardon my informality, but you look like you needed someone to tell you. This isn't about the mystery, is it? This is different. Personal. Almost seems like you want me to deduct something about yourself more than the case. What happened is in the past, and you have every right to be upset about it. It doesn't mean that those scars aren't there. It's difficult. Perhaps I shouldn't be telling you this as someone who is my potential client, but I don't think you need me. How about, instead, you sip that tea and you warm up. What comes next about the mystery, I'll still help you with. For free this time. Maybe I'm getting conned by the best con artist I've ever met. But I can't just stop right there. Something about those eyes. It's different. It's as if I'm being sucked into them. No malintent ever intended. This is unprofessional. I'll fully admit to it and take responsibility. I just want you to communicate if I've hit any of those figurative nails on the head. I'm worried about you. As one stranger to another, and a stranger who deals with many other ones, I feel that kindred spirit kicking in. It was at that point I noticed things weren't going so well. I had made a fool of myself, at least in a sense, but I couldn't take back those words on that bittersweet moonlit night. It was like a storybook start, messy, written, but not in stone. Like a first draft to the best novel ever written. I was there, staring, waiting, smiling, trying my damnedest to make sure that I was accommodating. Mysteries were something, but hearts were completely different. Matters of things beyond. Subtle clues were always that which eluded me. But this case, I knew. It was going to be the start of something. I just couldn't tell yet. Now, before we get into the details, mind telling me why you're in those clothes like that? I'm not trying to hit on you, yet. I might be. You are pretty cute, but I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. I'm sure you get that all the time, and besides, this is about your wellness. When I take on a case, it's always something personal. I've solved them because I hate to see people lose that spark in their eye. But somehow it's like your eyes are like a mirage in a desert. And I don't just mean that in the cheesy pickup line way. It's almost as though I'm lost for words. Detective without a clue. But even then, even if I take out all of those cues, cards, and the hand I've been dealt with you, I still think you need something more. And judging by the fact that you're moving around with that suitcase, is it? You don't have a place to go. Let's be real. So, what's it going to be? It's not something regal, but I couldn't just let you walk back out into that storm. At least stay here for a little while. I wouldn't bother you unless I thought you needed it. So tell me, did I get anything right so far? Not bad. Guess I haven't lost my touch yet. Funny thing to be saying after only being in the business for 2 years. I graduated from law school, if you are curious, 2 years ago. Ever since then, I thought I'd be going into criminal justice. The main difference now is I got preoccupied, lost in my own idea of helping people. Sure, maybe I could be a lawyer right now making millions. But would that really be helping people? And then who would be helping you right now? Hey, I know it's not my place to be saying this, nor is it my duty, but why don't you tell me what's going on? Nah. Quite the conundrum, huh? When the people you love are the ones who make you feel the worst. I've got trust issues too. Don't feel bad about that. Now listen to me. I'm going to tell you something as a struggling professional, someone just as misplaced as you. Perhaps this was fate that we even met here. Thinking about it? That smile's worth more than the commission price I was going to ask. So thanks for that. If it sounds like I'm hitting on you, well, not exactly. I do want to get to know you more, though. And be ashamed to invite someone into your house to stay and be worrying the whole time that they're some kind of psychopath or something. Same goes for you. You're cute enough that I could see a lot of creeps might be onto you. In which case, take my word for it. This place you can stay, it's not much, but it's something. You see, up here in the attic, it's not really an attic. I turned it into a little loft for reading. But it'd make a pretty good bedroom with a blanket or two. Now, before all that, you should finish your tea. And before even that, I should probably tell you my name if you care to know it. You probably already know it already, but the name is Roy. Last name doesn't matter. What do you go by? I don't mean to laugh as a demeaning point. Nothing in the slightest. I just thought, damn, that name suits you. The golden question. You see, I relate to you a lot. And while I can see, maybe I've been on this green earth for a little longer than you. You have that glow of someone who's at least in tune with what matters in your life. Maybe just a little. Maybe you're just as lost and I'm completely wrong. But lost souls tend to flock together, you know. Isn't that something almost religious? The way that you feel connected to someone at a glance, at pouring tea for them. It's not the worst date, right? Huh? So you're the type to dive into things impulsively. That's what I'm gathering. Do you get the feeling that I'm scrutinizing everything you say and do? Some people always gave me that idea. They think because I'm a detective I need to know everything about you. They'd only be half right. The only thing I want to know about you is where your heart is. Though, whenever you smile, I'll admit, it makes my heart flutter. And as uncanny as this meeting is, I'm glad it's happening. Very glad, actually. I didn't have much plans for today. It wasn't a busy day with work, as you could imagine. And it's lonely sometimes. Not in the sense that I'm trying to push you into something, but rather because those eyes of yours, if I'm not mistaken, every single time that I've hinted at the idea of hitting on you, you seem bashful, interested, and slightly, what's the word? Curious. Stop me if I'm wrong, but... So I wasn't interesting. Now, this isn't really much of anything, but why don't we make it a date? Nothing too special, but... God, out of context, this probably sounds suspicious, but... How about this? What's the best way? Alright. I've got these 22 phones. Yes, exactly 22 phones. Weird thing to remember, but... You can check them, call someone, do whatever you want to feel safe. But... God, this is awkward. The more I think about it, the more I'm trying to give you ways to call for help when you feel all alone. Sorry if I was insensitive. But right now, I guess I just wanted to reassure you. You could use any one of these, all of them. If I did anything even slightly suspicious, by all means. Then again, as a criminal justice graduate, I'd be more likely to lock myself up for a crime. The idea of crime, or taking something from someone without their permission, I actually abhor the idea because it was done to me. That's why I went down this path. Career path, debts. Everything felt so real until it didn't. At the very end of it, I thought I was going to have a glistening life, but it ended up being different. The world isn't that rose-tinted place. It's much more murky, gray, like a rainy day. Those sparks of thunder and those crazy moments. It's not all bad. Don't get me wrong, that's not what I'm saying. In fact, I'd say plenty of it's good. But when life hits you like a rainstorm, you're not always prepared for it. Sometimes you end up soaked in the rain like that. Sometimes you get lost and don't know where to go. You lose every path you can and end up in this puddle. You don't know how deep it is, but your feet keep sinking in. Sorry. I do that sometimes. I get lost in a train of thought that I become a little unaware of things. You're shaking. Hold my hand if you need. It's okay. You're safe here as anywhere. And if it's going to be a date, we might as well have a meal. So, on this wonderful menu, would you like some fresh, frozen, Chinese food? Or maybe... Oh, there's some lasagna, too. And if we scrounge a bit, I might be able to make, some... What's that? It's a special drink with, like, soda and juice. Safe to say, I'm not exactly living in high life for this dinner, but maybe the company will make it worth the while. As much as I'd like to afford something extravagant for you, I'm not even going to pretend that I can right now. Why? Oh, you're wondering why I didn't make use of the degree, right? That's just it, I am. Even if I had a choice to go and do all those things, I'd still end up here, in this shabby place I can barely pay rent. Why? Because a few times I've actually made a difference in someone's life. How many times do you think a greedy attorney can say that? Now, before you say anything, I know most attorneys might not be greedy bastards, but still. It didn't feel right. It didn't feel like it was my path. It felt like I was something different, meant for something different. Like my life would have never went anywhere going that way. Materialistically, I might have done fine. But what's material without any substance? See, you get it. You understand me, at least on a fundamental level, because we can relate at least somewhat. As much as people want to make money and power the goal, I like to think of justice in a different way. Justice is having the frozen meal with a stranger who doesn't have anywhere to go, whose eyes look like they're about to give out, whose hands shake, whose clothes are a mess, who's still ridiculously cute. And maybe you might think it's a strange one, but I don't want this to just be a moment in your life. I'd prefer this date to go on a little longer, if it's just between me and you. As much as I could think of a million ways to justify this being strange, outlandish, maybe even a little bit creepy, I assure you, my intentions have never been pure. For the most part. I mean, unless you're expecting something crazy, then be my guest. I never really said that anything was off the table. It's just different. Here, there, everywhere. It's all the same, isn't it? You and I, we're those pieces that slip through the crack. Society sees us as prodigies or outcasts, one or the other. What do you fancy yourself? Ah, I see. Well, as long as you don't fancy yourself hungry after a semi-okay, hopefully not frostbitten meal. Hey, at least the tea's good, right? I got this from my great-aunt. She, was something of a tea snob. Ran a tea shop right in the middle of town. Unfortunately, I lost contact after I shunned down a few lawyer opportunities. It's fine. Trust me. This is more fulfilling and fun. I just hope that someday I get the ability to make... Never mind. It's just words now. And I'm blabbering endlessly, but maybe this simple meal under a roof will make you feel safe. And I hadn't even thought of offering you a shower and change of clothes. I'm so sorry. Can you tell I don't get much visitors? Many people want to stay here? Yeah, no. But even then, this helped to be a fate of some sort. I want to share this fate with you. Even if it's just for tonight. It'd be interesting just to have the company. And big empty house is kind of scary when you're alone. I've been alone since I can remember, married to my work. But then when the work settles down, I never knew how to. Like an empty chair, endlessly there in the corner. That one right there used to belong to my pops. I mean, he's still around, just he gave it to me. Sorry if it sounded like I was gonna go into some dramatic monologue, but it's just that simple. Sometimes life is that simple. Sometimes it's not. But when I look at you, I can see something. A hope for the break of the monotony. And when I suggested that idea of the date, you didn't seem too repulsed. I'd give you 80% so far. Even then, how do you feel for real? It's better to ask from the source, even as a detective. Body language says a lot. You seem fairly comfortable, aside from the wet clothing. Sorry, my eyes just wandered, but I promise it wasn't anything. Now, before we do anything else, do you at least want to tell, or... Please, feel free to use my house like it's yours, but we'll just leave the food until after. Something like that sound good? Yeah. Hey, is it alright if I just sort of talk to you through the wall? No, I can't see anything. But you drying yourself off, getting a fresh pair of clothes, it makes me happy. I suppose you can't have a date without at least being comfortable and physical in that way. I mean, comfortable in a physical way. Listen, if I'm honest, you flustered me. Just a bit. Not only the conundrum of your case, but the bewildering, bewitching nature. It's almost like you're not of this world, like you're something different. Don't get me wrong, you seem human enough, fleshy enough. Definitely nice proportions, a really nice butt, but it's not about that. The point being is, you, my dear, you're different. You're a lot different than most people. And I guess I'm still trying to figure out what it is that makes you so special. Why, when I look at you, it feels different. Like we've known each other before. Almost like I've seen you in my dreams and all of that other storybook stuff. But even then, even with all of that, it still has this connection that I can't explain. Do you feel anything when you look at me? So it's not just me then. How interesting, and somewhat appealing, the fact that you and I share this. It's heartwarming, to a certain extent. I feel a little bit better after getting a change of clothes. I guess you already took your shower in the rain, asking me if you smell. Not unless you intended to smell stinky as flowers, then. Truthfully, you smell adorable. As much as you look. This right here, this is the main room. I know you didn't get to see it with the brief time in our office, but I did say our office, but there used to be someone else that I worked with, my partner in crime and a friend. His name was Franz. He was different. A friend turned something else. Look, not every relationship works out. Not every knot in that red string of fate is something to look at. I've had my heart broken a few times, not in relationships. Friendships can hurt you like nothing else. Family can stab even deeper. I know you can relate on that, and maybe I'm taking advantage of this situation to share a little too much, a little too fast. But somehow it feels like you need it. Someone to listen to you. Someone to open up and not close the door in your face. Not tell you that you're too much or too little. Now listen, and listen closely. I'm not just what you think either. I know you can see with those eyes that pierce me. You can clearly know that there's something different about both of us. As for me, you'll have to pry a little deeper than that if you want to know. Otherwise, the secret wouldn't be much of a secret, would it? That air of mystery, as much as someone with microwave lasagna can have. And no, you can check the basement for yourself. I don't keep anyone in the basement. For now. Did you think I was gonna say something crazy? Do I scare you? If I do scare you, it's probably for your own good. Remember, strangers can be dangerous. Dangerous and terrible people. But they can also be cute and cuddly ones. They can also be something special. Only when you get to know them, though. When you can figure out that they're not some kind of psychopath trying to eat you for dinner. Especially not something... Well, I suppose you'll have to read me like a book. I wonder who's really the detective here between you and I. You seem to have deducted a fair amount of me in order to be so comfortable in my house. Trust me, I can see your eyes wouldn't betray you being naive of all people. Your naivety is cute but forced. Now why don't we cut to the chase? What are your intentions of being here? Did you think I wouldn't know? You almost fell for it. What did you think? I was going to accuse you of being some kind of serial killer? Maybe some kind of crazy person. Well, if you were, then I wonder which one of us would be worse. It's a joke. You know it. I know it. But your eyes tell me something a little different even still. What could it be? That stain on the floor that vaguely resembles blood. Could it be the signs of a struggle in the corner? Your eyes shift every now and then, And I wonder what it means. What it really means. Do I seem like I'm here to threaten you? To hurt you? To do something worse? If I do, then I'm so sorry, but you've got it completely wrong. Cross my heart, and I think you know the rest quite intimately. Oh, I know your face of feigned ignorance. This here, it's just a replica, of course. Did you think I was going to do something so suspicious? Well, I do have my concerns. There's many of them. When I see you, you remind me of someone. Remind me of someone that I've seen once before, remember, in my dreams. Something a little more dangerous. Well, why don't you get comfortable? That look of feigned ignorance, you're actually quite good at it. That look of fear, the way that you pretend, if I wasn't a detective, I wouldn't have known it. So, let me ask you again. Who are you? And why did you come here with that sob story? Is it? Really? We're having our date, so I stop there. Right? You can eat your dinner. And I can go about my night. Having a date with a wonderful, beautiful stranger. Do you really think I'm someone bad? I wonder if I would ever consider myself bad. Dangerous, but not bad. Don't you think? Of course, you're the one who came here. You're the one who came looking for something. Didn't you? I know what you are. At least somewhat. I know what you're looking for, and I know I may look like an easy target. But you have two options right here. Tell me, did that look work on all your other ones? Careful. This time. Maybe it's not a replica. Maybe this situation is different than you anticipated it to go. Maybe I'm just a little more cautious or aware, or maybe you think you're better than you think you are. Either way, hello and welcome again. You know, our names are bullshit. Don't try and say Roy this or Roy that. What do you think? Does any of this make sense? The way you winced. It's interesting. Almost on a satirical level. Your acting needs some work, though. So our little date is going along, but you need to understand two things. One, don't bullshit me. And two, I have no intention of hurting you unless you start it. So don't play rough. What are you? How many times am I going to have to say it? Say the fucking truth before I use this on you. This is my place, my domain, and you're different. Do you remember all those hints? All those little things I was telling you? For the most part, I was genuine. We are two of a kind, lost pieces, broken up and coming back together again. But I wasn't trying to make you feel at home just yet. Because there's something lingering wrong right now. And that's that you lied to me. You had to have known that lying to a detective would have consequences. Now the real question is, are you going to own up to those lies? Or end up in the basement? How interesting. That expression, when you finally give what's meant to be. I see it, I see the truth in your eyes. You really are hurt, and it makes this more difficult than it needs to be. You must know that all of this, it was fate, wasn't it? The fact that you found out almost nothing. Did I look like an easy victim to you? Or did I look like maybe the only person in the world who could understand you? And maybe both of those are fucking correct. Maybe all of this is a test. Maybe I'm getting antsy. And maybe even further than that. I want to test how far you'll go. Oh. Did I do that? Oops. I did warn you to be careful, because I can be clumsy with these things. It's easy to misfire. In fact, a lot of people get hurt every single year to misfirings of these pesky things. But do you know why I keep one right now? Because if I didn't, then things like you might sneak in and get the better of me. You must know I don't want to hurt you. I don't. In fact, I'd love this date to go well. I'd love to see something different than the usual. Than that feigned fear, that fake reaction. I want to see what you're really like and understand you. Do I look like such a heathen that I wouldn't at least want to know that much? It was at that moment I knew what I had to do. I knew this being beyond the comprehension of what made sense, their kind, the beings that deny logic and law. I knew that this was a beautiful person, trapped with dangerous circumstances, maybe a victim, maybe a killer. But either way, my hand was shaking. Something that only happened on full moons. A dangerous mixture of drinks and weapons. An even deadlier mixture of attraction and romance. Down the barrel of the gun. A feeling of nervousness, and that feeling that I couldn't grasp what I needed to do. Oh, I needed a drink, but I didn't want it. I had to be sober and understand the consequences of letting that in my house. That beautiful person. That poor person who never deserved what happened to them. They were lost. I was their only bailout from a life of being a monster. I was the one who had been a monster for longer, and I needed to do something fast. Listen to me, and listen well. This is dangerous. All of this is dangerous. I mean what I said, just careful. We both know if you eat that frozen food that I just use as a cover-up, you'll be vomiting until sunrise, and then what? Well, then I could kick you out into the sun and see what people think. But is that what you really are, I wonder? Perhaps you're not of the sun-evasive type. Maybe you're something different. Detectives have to figure that out. Perhaps it's finally time I told you that the detective business doesn't generally end up kind to our types. Yes, I said our types. You're not bad. You're just dangerous. You could lose control right now, and that's where the story ends. But it's so rare for someone to have that same glisten in their eye. You know, I can smell it. Your scent is different. So, speak already. What are you? And don't stutter. I need to know, and I need to know now. This isn't to threaten you, and I'm sorry that I have to. I apologize, and this isn't how I should be as a host, but you have to understand, if you're one of them that's trying to kill me, that's trying to end us, then I need to be prepared for the worst. This isn't making me happy. I was hoping I was wrong when you walked in. God. If I'm honest, I'm a sad, lonely man. Because the world, everything gets fucked up, and all that bullshit about solving people's problems is just an escape to leave my own. Because you know all about this, don't you? You know all about it. Just when you think you found your place and someone comes, they come for you. The people who don't want us to even exist, to breathe the same air as them. Those that hate. Those that kill. And sometimes they make us work against ourselves. Yeah, I know. It's not fair, and you probably don't even know what I'm talking about to a certain extent, but I know you have to know you're different. Just like me. And I'm taking a big risk, and look, just pretend this didn't happen. No, it's too late for that, isn't it? Far too late. Is there any way I could get you to forgive me? I'm a little on edge, is all. There's been 10 people in 3 days that all came here. They weren't looking for my brain, they were looking for my head. Maybe you're just ignorant of all this. Maybe all of this doesn't make any fucking sense. In fact, I'm almost certain it doesn't. None of it does. I accused you so fast, but I'm the one at fault. Listen. Just go. If you really are part of them, I guess this is it. You mentioned the date now. You must be more crazy than I ever thought. You still want that date after I pointed a weapon at you. After I almost did something I couldn't take back. You know, you really should nip that habit in the bud of trying to trust people who don't even always trust themselves. Look at me. I'm not like you. I'm not what you would call normal. I'm different, and maybe you are too. But that doesn't mean you can trust everyone. It doesn't mean everyone deserves forgiveness, or everyone deserves anything. I tried so hard to live my life ignoring what I am. And it's clear to me, at least somewhat, you're the same. You feigned ignorance enough to try and protect yourself, and I'm not indiscriminate enough to misunderstand that this isn't just you manipulating me. I'm a detective, remember? That was clearly acting out self-preservation. And you probably thought I might be one of them too. You've probably had a run-in or two, running for your life, losing house and home, and God knows what else. You might know, from the subtle hints, from the not-so-subtle ones, what kind of house you're in right now. You might know you're in danger if you go out there, and you're in danger if you stay here. But you having a date with the beast even still, you've got nerve, I'll give you that. Even if you do, but it's still not enough, is it? Nerve alone doesn't explain. So spit it out. What are you? And why are you really here? I think I understand this now. I understand where you're coming from, just a little more. From what you just said, I can gather the details a little bit clearer. The ones who ruined your life are your family because they disowned you as their only grace, as their only way of... Was I wrong? No. Maybe. Even if it's not your family, it's someone that was close to you. Something that hit close to home, a betrayal. You know what it feels like. You know it just as well as me. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe right now you're just manipulating me because I'm in an emotional state. You might know that my kind loses a piece of themselves on this day. That sometimes I don't know what I've done when I wake up again. That sometimes there's monsters under the bed. Dangers. Believe it or not, I invited you in without the hint of intention of using you other than perhaps if you chose violence as a just desserts meal. Though it would have brought me no joy, you know. I don't enjoy hurting people. I don't enjoy any of this. All I wanted in my life was some semblance of stability to really help people. And now that you know it, you know exactly what type of investigator I am, why I have so few clients, why everything ends up being a matter of daggers and knives and guns and pain. Life isn't what you think it is. It never fucking is. But I don't need to tell you that. You don't need the crazed detective, the monster in front of you, to tell you exactly what you need right now. I'm sorry. I hope you can accept my apology for my unhinged behavior. But this is something different. Something dangerous. I can't promise I won't hurt you, but I'll try to. I can't promise I won't destroy and harm and bleed out everything. But I can promise that at least tonight you'll be safe in this house. So long as you don't go wandering too much. This has been my family house for 200 years. Welcome. It's run down, it's a piece of shit. But for tonight, you can consider it your piece of shit. As much as my own. As for what tomorrow brings, I wonder, will our date continue, or are you going to be gone by sunrise? I never do know with your time. You must have no self-preservation left to kiss a beast, knowing that I could snap right here and then that I could devour you like you were never here. What do you think you're doing, idiot? You deserve better than this. You deserve something more than this. You deserve to be free of this kind of situation. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for if I hurt you. Is your back alright? Slamming you into the wall probably wasn't too good for it, huh? No. Here. I think it's only fair. I'm tired of this, so it's your choice. If this isn't a sign that you can trust me, then I must be a psychopath without any equal. If you think I'm a bad man, that I'm going to hurt you, you could pull the trigger and you know what would happen. No evidence, no body, nothing will be left. This isn't a normal bullet. And if you want me gone, fuck it. Maybe it's just my time. Maybe I'm not the detective I always dreamed of being. You. Throwing a gun is dangerous, you know. Well, I suppose pushing one towards your head is more dangerous. I apologize, I've been a terrible host. Terrible indeed. In a way that you didn't deserve or ask for. I can only say I'm sorry. But at the same time, I'm glad that you're here. And I can trust you just a bit more. Truth be told, I don't know if I feel comfortable saying names, so for now, Let's just leave it at that. Our names are pointless, aren't they? Monsters. Do we really even deserve names? Tell me, you know what it's like to lose your memories and wake up, blood on your hands, and you don't even know who you hurt. I know. You know what that feels like. You have those eyes. They gave you away, I'm afraid. This whole situation is fucked. This date is fucked and the lasagna's cold, but... I hope at least the tea was nice. And that something more could come of it. Something good. That it's at least better than being homeless. That it's at least better than being alone. I hope you can have something of a good night. And that kiss, I wonder, what did you mean by it? You can't just kiss someone lonely and desperate like that. They lose their mind over things like that, dreaming of kisses and hugs. Monsters are greedy. You have to know that. Or maybe your own greed got the best of you. Perhaps you're just as lonely as me. A beast in the world, left to roam where no one wants to admit we even exist. But you do feel different. There. I've returned it to you. The fact that you didn't fight disaster like that. What could you be thinking? I don't understand how you're thinking at all. Get back. Get away from me. I'm warning you. I don't want to hurt you. Go upstairs. I will suffice here and maintain. How did you closed this? Perhaps it was fate, after all. It was on that day I met someone in this raunchy, hellish world that kissed me for the first time. A bastard. Always considered unwanted, untouchable. And yet I felt wanted. I felt special, shamelessly. It was the start of something much different. Something fiery, something chaotic, and something that I'll never, ever forget. Even 3 years passed. I wonder, what What is your name, really? I hope I find out. Today, tomorrow, or forever. And that you'll remember just as much as me. My first love.